Hello learners, today we are going to learn how to design Mach-Zehnder interferometer on K-Layout software. So what shall be our strategy? Let us see. So Mach-Zehnder interferometer consists of two Y branches and two waveguides. Beside that, two grating couplers or more than two grating couplers shall be used to connect the line. So suppose this is Y branch, another Y branch. This Y branch is used to split the light and this Y branch is used to combine the light. And these are the two arms of Mach-Zehnder interferometer, which is nothing but these waveguides. So one is waveguide is like this, another waveguide is having different L, that is the length, which may be here in this case L2 is greater than L1. So delta L is L2 minus L1. So this is the input and this is the output port of Mach-Zehnder interferometer, which is also written as MZI. In this MZI, the input light is collected by a grating coupler and output light is collected by again a grating coupler, which which is connected to the through the fiber. So now Mach-Zehnder interferometer is a functional optical circuit which has many applications, as we have told that it can be used as optical filters, optical switches, and in optical monitor and many more. So main characteristics is its FSR, that is called free spectral range. Free spectral range, uh, free spectral range FSR is defined as operating wavelength square of the operating wavelength divided by the group refractive index of the waveguide and multiplied by the difference between the arm's length of Mach-Zehnder interferometer, that is L2 minus L1. So operating wavelength, most of the time we use 1550 nanometer or 1.55 micrometer, and the waveguide having width 500 nanometer and 220 nanometer height has group index about 4.25, and in this case we will see what shall be the change in waveguide arm. So that shall be here 4.25 multiplied by this delta L, then we can calculate the FSR. And what is this basically FSR? FSR is basically the difference between two peaks. These two peaks may be either constructive interference or destructive interference. So this is FSR. So difference between these two. At what wavelength this constructive or destructive interferences repeats itself, that is the FSR. So as far as working principle of Mach-Zehnder interferometer is concerned, it's like that. Light is coming from fiber brick grating, then it's split into two parts by Y branch and again meeting by this coupler. But you see L1 and L2 both are different, so whatever light is coming it will reach earlier than whatever light is coming through L2. So if they are meeting at same phase, then constructive interference occurs and you will get the peak, highest peak of the light. And if they are meeting, if these two lights from these two arms are meeting at out of phase, then destructive interference takes place and no light will available. So at particular wavelength, constructive interference will be there, and at another wavelength, you will get the destructive interference. So, so the difference between two consecutive constructive interference or destructive interference is called FSI. So this is one of the feature which we will try to calculate through our this simulation. So with this, let us open our software that is called K Layout. I will uh, stop sharing and then we'll move to our K layout. So you can see this is K layout. Its version is 0.26.7. It uses the SciEpic library, in which we have electron beam library developed by SciEpic, and leading developer is Professor Lucas from University of British Columbia. So first of all, I will start from here, file, in the file, new layout. I click on this new layout and give the name of top cell as ED underscore my name Subhash underscore the device name like MZI and keeping the number version 1. After that, I will click on OK, leaving the database unit 0.001 and initial window size 2 micrometer respectively without changing its say by default value. Say OK. After saying OK, you can see the canvas is middle, a grid, white grid region. Left hand side we have cell, another we have navigator. Then below left hand side we have library, which is selected here. For example, I select here basic basic objects, then ebeam 0 version 0.3.33, then ebeam dev, ebeam beta, free PDK45. These are the different libraries. So under basic, this one ebeam, there are the different components, optical components. Then some more advanced components are there in the beta technology. Then this is another, and so this is SciEpic's generic, and so on. So we will use eBeam components with models. This library we shall use for designing our Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So what are the steps? Let us see. So if you want to just follow this video lecture to design your own Mach-Zehnder interferometer, I would suggest use your keyboard window, which is left hand side on your keyboard, number 3, and press the either left arrow or right arrow simultaneously. Then what will happen? Your screen of laptop or your PC will split into two parts. So on one hand, on one part you can see this video. On the second part, you can open your K layout software and follow the video lecture so that you can prepare your own. So my process is slow, and so you can, so that you can follow it exactly whatever I'm going to follow to make the Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So first of all, I will go to layers and select the floor plan. It will decide the area in which I am going to make my Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So this is the layer. I have clicked on this layer. This is shown by blue. And then go to box. In the menu bar, we have a box. You can see my cursor. I select the box and drag in the canvas region. After that, I click, and then you can see a rectangular box with color blue is visible. After that, you can press escape button, and by default select is uh, uh, visible. Then you can select it and press now uh, button Q. This Q later button on your keyboard you can click. So what you can see the object properties. Object properties gives an opportunity to decide the location as well as size of your floor plan where you are going to make the Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So this left x-axis which is here, I will make it 0 as well as y. So your initial left bottom portion is at x value 0 and y value 0. And upper right, that is the corner, is what is the value of x. Here, as per standard value given by index course by Professor Lucas, is 605 micrometer and y is 410 micrometers. So this is the space or area given by this course index on silicon photonics. The same area we are using here. Click OK. So you see the size is determined. This value is visible at the right corner. You can see here 0, 0. This one. However, you see other most of the area is not visible. So you if you press F button on your keyboard, so your floor plan will visible in the middle of the screen. So up to that, I think there should be no problem to determine the size as well as location of floor plan. Now next step is to to uh, to select to create the instances for the devices. So we have to go to instance button which is given here. Click on that, go to library and select the E-beam component library. After that, left hand side we have three dots which tells about the cell. So click on that and select the grating coupler for TE mode designed for wavelength 1550 nanometer. So you just scroll down. We have state waveguide, bent waveguide, state waveguide, bump, wire, contradirectional coupler, and after that you will see this E-beam grating coupler for TE mode at 1550 nanometer waveguide wavelength. So I click on that, say OK. Since we need three grating couplers. So I click on array instance so that with one go we can create the array of three grating couplers. So row wise 3, column wise 1. The difference between the distance between these three couplers will be 127 micrometer for automatic measurement. This this value has been given by SciEpic index course on silicon photonics. So say OK, and after that you see this three grating coupler has been hovering with this my cursor, and I would like to place at the corner so that rest space we can use for other purposes. So I have clicked. After that I have to skip. I have to push the button skip. Now you can observe that now three components are here, but these three components are not visible. So how to make them visible? So we go to display. This is the top here, file, edit, view, bookmark, and display. In the display, select full hierarchy. So I click full hierarchy. Now you are able to see the three grating couplers. Just zoom out to see the three grating couplers. So this first grating coupler I will assign for getting the input light, and these two below grating couplers will assign to get two outputs. These two outputs are out of phase of Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So in order to make this entire screen again in the center of canvas, I will press F. So you can see it has come to in the middle. So after that, I will select a Y branch which is given in the library section, E-beam library 0.3.33. The second last is E-beam Y branch designed for 1550 nanometer for optimum performance. So here I just click on and drag it. After dragging, I am trying to put near to the first grating coupler. So I have just put it, but I want to refine its position. I want to move it near to this grating coupler. So it is selected here already, or if it is not selected, you click on this. It is click and on this, and EB Y underscore 1550 it is written, it means it is selected. Now I want to move this near to a grating coupler so that I can snap or proper connection can be made. So I can use this move button which is here just adjacent to select. Then I click on, and after that I want to drag near to click, still not come near, and put near to this one. Just click. In order to join it perfectly, leave it. We will use the SciEpic command to snap it perfectly. So since if I will do anything, it will still in the move uh, selection. So I will go to select. Now in order to connect this component E-beam to this grating coupler, I will select it, hover the mouse over this greeting coupler to snap. So I have selected, now hovering on this and use the command Shift O. You can see there is a warning called selection was an array. It means the three grating couplers are an array and only one component is there to snap. So there is incompatibility. So first of all, I have to say OK to declare this grating coupler as an object or a component. Then it will work. So I have to do the same things by clicking first OK. Then selection, go to hover. So if we keep our cursor, then it is hovering. It shows that it is hovering. Now do the same thing, that is the press shift and O. So you see now this connection, perfect connection between output of grating coupler and input of this Y branch has been done perfectly. Now next task is to select a broadband Dresner coupler so that we can make 2 ohms of Mach-Zehnder interferometer and as well as to get 2 outputs of Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So go to library. In this library, eBeam library, we have eBeam broadband directional coupler here. eBeam broadband directional coupler. eBeam BDC 40 E mode 1550. So select it, drag it here and click. So you see your broadband directional coupler is available. It is 4-port device. So it is presently in horizontal direction. I click, already it is selected. Let us click it on it. And in order to change the orientation of this broadband directional coupler in vertical direction, first I press Q button so that its stance property is visible to us. And now go to geometry. In geometry, we go to the option of rotation angle in degree. So if we put rotation angle as uh, 90 degree, let us see 90 degree, then what will happen? Yeah, its direction has been changed 90 degree. But still it has some problem which I want to show here. So you see here in up this port, this is port 3 output and this is port 4, and if I use, so port 1 is here, port 2 is here. If I wish to connect port 1 and port 2 here at Y branch, and port 3 and port 4 should work as a output port, so I can rotate it by 270 degree. However, since it is a bidirectional device, as far as outputs are concerned or its functions are concerned, there should be no change. But let us connect port 1 and port 2 to this one, and port 3 and port 4 are bidirectional coupler to output port. So I select it, already it is selected, press again Q button. So instance property of bidirectional broadband directional coupler will appear, and now change the angle by 270 degree. So I click OK. So you can see now Port 1 is available, is visible here, and port 2 is here. And out the output which we connect here, you will see port 4 here and port 3 is here. So in order to put all the things into middle, let us press F. So it is F button. Now as far as components are concerned, all components we have put into the this is canvas. Now I want to make the connection, that is through waveguide, and these waveguides are made of silicon layer. So I go to layer, expand this waveguide, select the silicon material. So our waveguide is made of silicon material having waveguide width of 500 nanometer or 0.5 micrometer. So I click on the silicon, go to path. This is the path. You see object editor option has come. In this, it gives the option of changing the waveguide width. Presently by default it is 0.5 micrometer, which is our required. However, sometimes we use 0.45 or we can change for any other analysis. So let us keep it like that, 0.5 micrometer waveguide width. Say OK. Now we are in the position to make the connection between these output of Y branch, which splits the light into two parts, and these the inputs of bidirectional coupler, which will work as 2 ohms of Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So I click first. I want to connect these two ports. So I just zoom out and click to make a path up to here, then click again so that we can have a bend, and just double click near to the port 1, and no need to bother that they are connected or not. We will use the command to connect it. So from here to here, now I want to connect it using the command. So go to SciEpic, under that we have waveguide. Go to waveguide and there is a path to waveguide command, that is W. Click on it. It will ask waveguide configuration. So we see this is a strip waveguide for TE mode. Waveguide width is 500 micrometer, sorry 500 nanometer, and other specification, that is the width. Radius is 5 micrometer for minimum loss. If we reduce this radius of curvature by less than 5 micrometer, there shall be losses in the light while traveling from this part to this, from this port to this way. So this is a standard value, 5 micrometer. So keep it like that, say OK, and you see connection has been made perfectly. So here you see now, and let us check this one also. So since it is selected, let us check what is the dimension of it, means what is the length of this arm. So go to SciEpic waveguide and measure waveguide length. So we see the length of this L1 is presently 22.889344. So 22.889. Click OK. Now I want to make another connection from this port to this port, which will work as a L2 length, second length of Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So what I will do, I will click on it and go somewhere larger distance here, go come down, come here, zoom out and double click just near to port. So the second arm of MZI is here. Now make a connection, go to SciEpic, waveguide, path to waveguide. So it is telling that there is a warning. One of the waveguide segment has insufficient length to accommodate the desired bend radius. What is the desired bend radius? That is the 5 micrometer. So one of the one of these may be less than 5 micrometer bend radius. I think probably this one. That is why it is giving warning. Do you want to proceed? So for time being, let us see. Yes. Then, however, since it will give more uh, loss, so we will delete. For time being, let us say yes. So you see, it has given the connection, but with warning that we should know that it will give more loss. So I will go to this one. It is selected. Let us delete it, and our connection should be more than 5 micrometer bending radius. So this is layer. Select path, again 0.5 micrometer. See OK. Give the connection here. This one. Go to here up. Make little bit larger dimension here to ensure that our waveguide bending radius should be more than 5 micrometer. Double, and now go Sci-Epic waveguide path to waveguide. So now without warning this has been connected. So this is L2. So now let us see what is the length of this waveguide, second waveguide, measure waveguide length. So you see it is 171. Let us note down 171.51272. So this is the length too. However, if we are bothering about the what is the delta L, the difference between these two. So we can do calculation and keep that what is this delta L. Let me see. So 171.512 minus 22.889. 22.899. So this value comes 148.61. 148.61. So note here 148.61 micrometer. So let us check it using the command. So I have it is selected. Now select another waveguide also by pressing shift and select. So if these numbers are visible, means both waveguides are selected. Go to Sci-Epic. There under waveguide there is option for measure waveguide length difference, that is shift T. So you see it is measuring the difference between L1 and L2. You see here it is exactly the same value 148.62 in our 613, so it is taking around 862 with this RMS place error 0.575 radians. So it's okay 148.62. So this is delta L. So we have to remember that delta L is equal to 148.62. So I think up to that one people would understand, learner can understand. Now I will click here, shift, press F. So as far as MZ dice is concerned, it is created. Now I want to connect the outputs to output port of this broadband directional coupler to grating coupler. So go to again silicon material layers and then path 0.5 micrometer waveguide width. Say OK. Now connect this grating coupler to this port, which will work as a output 1. Click here to get bed, and after that just leave it near to this port. Double click. So after that go to Sci-Epic to make a connection from path to waveguide. So it has connected here. Now make another connection from this grating coupler to this port of broadband directional coupler. I click just here to grating coupler. Press F. It is not visible. Yeah. Now I zoom out and roughly I click here and zoom out and put near to this port 3. and after that I want to make connection. After double clicking this, go to SciEpic, waveguide, path to waveguide, double click. So you see both connections have been made. Now I am again pressing button F. So you see it is visible in the middle. So go on selection. So this is our Mach-Zehnder interferometer having delta L is equal to 148.62. So now for automatic measurement, in automatic measurement under IDEX course, Professor Lucas has suggested to label the input port. We have to spell that which port is as input and which ports are as output. So for that purpose, we go to labeling with the help of this text layer shown by blue, and then going to here text. In that text, what is the procedure? We have to write OPT, that is optical underscore in underscore TE mode underscore 1550 device SCA MZI. SCA is my name, and then MZI1. And rest thing you can leave like that. Say OK, and now zoom out where we want to put this, just at the tip of this grating coupler, and here just click once and press escape. So now this port will work as an input where laser light will be working as an input. This is the done. After that, next task is to put the laser position, where is the laser and detector. So for that purpose, go to instance, go select the library SciEpic General Laser Detector. Once library is selected, go to cell, that three dots, go click on it. After that, select the laser, numerical interconnect laser for simulation purpose. Say OK. Since here array is selected, uncheck it so that only one laser is selected. And now the laser is hovering with this mouse. So I just put on it on above the grating coupler. So since only I need one laser, I skip after putting one laser. Now this will work as an input. Now after that I will go to here uh, to put photodetectors. We need two photodetectors. These two photodetectors give the output out of phase up. So go to instance SciEpic General Library. Under that we go to numerical interconnect detector. Say OK, here also OK, and now put here detector 1, and since it is selected here, put here we need one more photodetector. Click OK. Skip it so that it should be not selected. After that, we want to change this photodetector number. So click on this photodetector, the selection, press Q, instance property will come a photodetector, and change this number from 1 to 2 because this is the second grating coupler. So with this, now we have completed the task of designing the Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So press F, it is here. So with this, we have completed. Now next process is to verify whether your design is perfectly right as far as Foundry's terms and conditions are concerned. So for that, there is an icon called functional verification. I will click on this to check. So there is no layout error detected. This is essential as far as fabrication of this MZI is concerned, where Foundry accept no error, should be error free. So since no error is there, so we can go for simulation. So with K layout, there is interoperability function with simulation using numerical interconnects. That is another software which is now with this command, it will link to simulate the performance of this circuit. Before that, it requires uh, to save the name. So I will save with uh, mzi underscore sca. So this file we can save somewhere here. Now it is done. After that, it is communicating with the software, that is numerical interconnect, to run. So since presently it is slow, that is why the internet is slow, as well as software is linking to numerical interconnect. So uh, I will pause here. Now you can see on my screen the ANSYS numerical window is open. So you see ebeams bus underscore mzi version 1 is here, and numerical under numerical software ONA is here for optical network analyzer. So if we see, that is the automatic connection between K layout and numerical interconnect. So if I click on that and click on expand, so you see the circuit which we have made on numerical on K layout is here. Okay, so this is a black box now, and on ONA now I want to see the it's by default on result window gain is selected, gain 1 and gain 2 for 2 ports. I will click on that. You can see the gain curve of Mach-Zehnder interferometer. So the gain curve is coming on ONA plot. Let us see. It seems it has not come. So I will first run it. So running setup script, it has completed. Now click right on display results, and hopefully this time this result come. Yes, it has come. Uh, Let me ensure that whether you are able to see this outputs or not. Uh, this is screen here. So I hope this ONA is visible to you. And this is the two outputs. One output is shown in green curve and another one is the blue curve. So and you see both are out of phase. One when one is highest, another one is the lowest. When green is high, blue is low. So this is two outputs of constructive interference and destructive interference sheet of your Mach-Zehnder interferometer. I close it. Now select the transmission as well as the FSR free spectral range of uh, these this Mach-Zehnder interferometer. I right click on ONA, display the result. So you can see here transmission. Let us get the absolute value of transmission 1 and transmission 2, so that it will show the only amplitude. So you see here this is uh, this is transmission curve at 1550 is here. I will just zoom out since at 1550 red one is maximum and blue is minimum. So this is how we can see two outputs. And as far as FSR is concerned, I change the unit to nanometer. So we can see uh, the spectral range at this site. So near to 1550, the value should be between uh, 3.85 nanometer. So let us calculate theoretically the value of this FSR, whether it is coming in the range. So formula is FSR's lambda naught square, that is here 1550 nanometer. So I just calculate in the calculator 1555 e to the power minus 9, 1550 nanometer, put square divided by 4. 4.25, that is the Ng group index of waveguide, multiplied by the delta L, that is 148.62 micrometer e to the power minus 6, again close. So it is coming 3.82 nanometer. So you see the value is near to 3.82 here. This green curve is showing for 1552 at 3.9. So obviously the value for 1550 will be here. Okay. So this is the FSR. So in this way we are able to design your Mach Zehnder interferometer, and we have characterized before fabrication. We have already characterized the the uh, performance of Mach Zehnder interferometer. So coming again, so this is how we can design your Mach Zehnder interferometer on K layout. That is the GDS layout file. We have to save it. Save as I have already saved by this name mjdi.gds. So this GDS layout is industry is compatible. See, okay. So this is how we can design your Mach Zehnder interferometer. I stop sharing. Thank you for attending this lecture. With this, thank you so much.